Hi Stampers, it's Nancy Novak from Stampin' Shout. Welcome to this week's card making adventure. This week we're diving into the world of creativity with the Night Divine dies. These are so pretty. It's as simple as cutting out these pretty little dies and pairing them up with the stunning Oh Holy Night Designer Series paper. So this set brings to life the nativity scene. So we have Mary and Joseph and kings, and we have the camel and donkey and a cow and a lamb and these two little squigglies. I haven't used those yet. And then we have the stable scene. So it's really a nice set. Let's get started. I'm going to put these away. And so I don't lose them, I'm going to go ahead and put them in my little tray here. And I want to talk a little bit about this die set. It actually coordinates with this stamp set. The stamp set's called Night Divine. It's got beautiful holy scriptures and sentiments and beautiful font. And some of them are really large, so they fit on your card in a unique way, but the font is really pretty. However, I don't have that stamp set, and the reason I don't have it is because I have a couple of other stamp sets that I'm using. But by all means, if you don't have something like this, the Night Divine stamp set is gorgeous. But I've been using the sentiments from Ringed with Nature, so it's got a beautiful Merry Christmas in there. The Brightest Glow has so many beautiful sentiments, so I've been using a little bit of that. Even the So Very Merry, it has peace and joy. That would be great to use with these dies. And now these two are discontinued, but I just absolutely love them. Hark the Herald Angels Sing, Oh Come Let Us Adore Him. I'm going to use that. And I love this sentiment for the inside, sharing with you the glory, wonder, and miracle of this holy season. So I'm using a little bit of everything for the sentiments, but we're focusing mainly on the dies this week. So let me bring in the supplies for today's card. Let me show you today's card, right? So I'll show you how we cut that out and how we did the little fold. And the supplies I'm using, I have a white card base that's 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. My matte pieces for inside and for the front are boho blue. And then I also have white pieces for stamping on. I have a couple of scraps I cut circles out of, and this is what we're going to cut the nativity scene out of. And then here's the pretty Designer Series paper that I'm using today. And here's the full sheet, and this is the other side. So I cut a 5 by 3 3/4 piece for today's card. Now don't worry about the sizes, because if you've been following me, you should know that they're all going to be on my blog. In fact, down below in this description of the video, in the description of this video, there'll be words that say project sheets with a link, and that takes you right to my blog, and that's where you can find all the sizes, the measurements, shopping links, everything you need. So what are we going to do first? Okay, well, you can see here's my front pieces. I already cut circles out. So the circles, the white one is smaller, and that's the white one's a 2-inch circle, and the boho blue is 2 1/4. So whichever circle dies you have or punches, you can use, whichever you have. So I already have that done. Just let me find it here. There they are. And I am going to glue those together, and then I'm going to run them both through the through my cutting machine or my embossing machine, cutting and embossing machine. And I am going to use the subtle embossing folder. So let me find that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. I'll be right back. Not cut it out. I'm going to emboss it. I'll be right back. So I wanted to do this part on camera with you to remind you that whenever you cut something out, then the next thing you want to do is emboss it. If you emboss your paper and then cut it out, it's going to flatten all that pretty texture. So make sure you cut first and then emboss. So let's bring in this die, and I have a scrap of Night of Navy, and I could even use a smaller scrap, because all I'm going to do on this piece is I just want the 2 center images. So I can even just move it over to save paper. I can even do it this way. So let me cut that out and I'll be right back. So this is how it cut it out. So I'm just going to loosen it. So I just want the two center figures. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut away what I don't need. Don't worry, this week we're going to do lots of cards using all of these dies. But we're just starting off with Jesus and Mary and the little manger. So there's a little cutout here, a pokey thing, get rid of that. And I'm going to use glue dots. As much as possible this week, I'm going to use glue dots when attaching these figures to our cards because there's little tiny lines in here to show definition. And sometimes the glue squirts through there. So I'm going to use glue dots. So I'm just going to flip this over. And I'm going to find some glue dots here. Now I've got the glue dots attached, so I am just going to attach it to the center of my circle. And we've got a little bit more to do on that, but we'll finish that in a bit. So let's bring in my cutter, and I'll show you how I cut the designer series paper. Okay, so I'm going to take the 5-inch side that's up at the top, and I'm going to bring it over to 2.5, and I'm going to cut at the 2.5 mark, and I'm going to cut down 1¼ inches. I'm going to cut down 1½ inches. Just like that. Okay, then I like to bring in a straight edge. And there's where my cut is. And I'm going to take my straight edge and I'm going to put it right at the edge of my cut mark. Let me see if I put this on white paper, if it'll show up better. Okay, so here's my cut mark. And I like to take my little straight edge and I put part of it right at the edge of the cut and the other part right down at the corner, just like that. Make sure they're both lined up. And then I just fold it up a little bit and give it a crease. Then I'll do the same thing up here. So I am going to line up where the cut mark ends and the corner. And again, I'm just going to fold it up and I'm just giving it a good crease with my fingers here. Then I'll bring in my bone folder and give it a good crease just like that. And we can go ahead and glue these down. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my card base and I can go ahead and glue my matte piece down. Okay, so we have our white piece with that hole that we cut out. That's not going to show. And we're going to line the white piece up with our designer series paper. They're both the same size. In fact, I'm going to take a little bit of snail, just give it a little bit of stickum. It's not permanent. It's just going to help hold it in place. And that's going to help me when I stamp. So I have the stamp that's Glory to the Newborn King. I have Knight of Navy. And I'm going to stamp it right there, right in that center spot. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue the designer series paper to that white piece that we just stamped on. And then I'm going to glue that to the front of our card. Okay, so for the inside, what did I do for the inside here? Oh yeah, so I have a couple other scraps and I'm going to bring in one of my stamps that say Merry Christmas. And I'm going to stamp it on a scrap. The reason and then I'm going to punch it out. Let me tell you why. Let me punch it out first. Well, the reason I'm punching it out rather than just stamping it on the inside of my card is this stamp is got a funny slant to it. And every time I try to line it up straight, it never comes out right. It is right. Everything's right about it. It's just that it's very hard for me to put it right in the middle of a card and have it come out straight. So this is what I decided to do. I am going to punch that out with the smaller oval, and then I'm going to cut a scalloped oval with the boho blue, and then I'm going to glue these two together. And then I'm going to glue all this together. So this is the inside of my card. So I'm going to glue my matte piece, my stamping piece, and the pretty little scallop piece all on the inside. Isn't that pretty? I like that. So now the front, what we're going to do is we're going to pop it up, and then I have a couple of beautiful little embellishments we're going to add. And the dimensionals are adhesive back star trinkets. There's two sizes in here, and for this one I'm going to use the little teenier tinier one. So they're adhesive back, and I'm just going to center it. So that finished off our card. Isn't it pretty? Do you like it? I like this scallop inside there. It's real flat too, so it's nice to be able to mail it, you know, with that, like that. It's very pretty. So stay tuned for tomorrow's card, because I'm going to share a little bit about my inspiration sources. And trust me, you don't want to miss that. Thanks so much for crafting with me today. I'll be back again tomorrow, same time. I'll be here at noon. Go ahead and subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Don't be shy. Stamp and shout.